Good evening. I hereby call this regular meeting of Nacogdoches ISD Board of Trustees to order. Let the record show that a quorum is present and notice of this meeting was posted as required by Texas Open Meeting Act. All board members are in attendance today. Thank you for joining us today. First order of business today is conduct an executive closed session. The board will now conduct executive closed session to discuss items posted on our agenda pursuant to the following provision of Texas Open Meeting Act and as allowed by Texas Government Code Sections 551.071, 551.072, 551.074, and 551.129. No voting takes place in the closed meeting. Any action the board wishes to take as the result of discussions in closed session will take place after the board reconvenes into open session. And time now is 5:01. Good evening, everyone. The board is now reconvening into open session. The time is 6:01 p.m. Please remember that items do not have to be taken as it has been listed. Thank you for joining us, and ask to please turn your cell phone to the silent mode. At this time, I ask Reverend Pitcock to give today's invocation.
Let us pray. Lord, you are the creator of new beginnings, and you are with us as we begin this new school year. Fill us with your wisdom and pour out your peace, your energy, and your protection across Nacogdoches and to our Nacogdoches Dragons and community. We trust in your holy name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, ma'am. Now, pledges to the flags. Mr. James Montoya will lead us.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you, sir. This portion of our meeting is superintendent's report and announcements. Dr. Trujillo?
Coach Fashid and board, pretty excited about some things that are going on in the district. We've had a very exciting first 2 days of schools, and they're in the books for the 2024-2025 school year. We got off to a great start Wednesday with lots of students pouring into our campuses. I was at several of our campuses during the day, and I want to let you know that just how hard our staff has been working and preparing and making the first days of school memorable for all of our students. Everyone getting into their doors, getting fed, and getting home on Wednesday. And today was even better with our school. For one thing, it wasn't new anymore for our little ones. And I know that by Monday, we'll have to do this all over again because they would have slept during the weekend, but it was exciting. So thanks to our staff for all their hard work. It's going to be a wonderful year. I'm looking for Mr. LaRue. I know he's out here. We recognize during convocation our custodial staff and our lawn maintenance and all of our folks that are out there. They did a lot to get us prepared for the school year, sir. Thank you very much. Kirsten, our director of technology, I want to extend a thank you to her as well and her staff, because we did deploy the devices, and they did that during the summer as well to prepare us for this school year. Chief back there in the back, we want to make sure we welcome our new officer that's coming on. Chief, you want to bring him on up here? We're working constantly to get this going, so we've got one more officer. He's already been on the job with us. He's at the high school, and you'll hear more about our addition here.
Good evening, President Nearmond, board members, and Dr. Trujillo, Chief Barton. I would like to welcome John Donahue. I'm going to go ahead and let him go ahead and speak and give your background.
Good evening, everyone. My name is John Donahue. Come to Nacogdoches ISD from Woden, where I spent the last several years, the last 5 years as an administrator there. But I'm really excited to be back home because this is where my career in public education started as a teacher back at Nettie Marshall in 2000. I was here for a few years then, worked at Nettie Marshall and Brooks Glenn Jones. Now I'm back in a different capacity, and I'm really excited to be part of a great team here at Nacogdoches.
Welcome.
Thank you. Welcome.
Good to have you with us, sir.
Mr. Donahue, I've known you a long time. And I kind of started with NAC when you were with NAC, and
Yes, sir.
You were a great teacher, and I think you'll be a great asset to our police department.
Thank you very
Welcome
much. That
aboard.
means a lot. Appreciate that.
Welcome, sir.
Thank you.
And he's at the 9th grade center, right, Chief?
Yes, sir. He is conducting training at the 9th grade center, and then from there, he'll be assigned to campus.
Awesome. Lots of things going on already in the district. Our athletic teams are underway. Water polo and volleyball teams have already posted victories, and we're in the third day of school, so they're off to a great year. Football at Nacogdoches High School began practice on Monday, and their preseason scrimmage is next Thursday in Jasper. And of course, our Dragon Band has been practicing and preparing for the start of the new marching season. And if you make your way by the high school, you're going to see the new stands that they have that's in the end zone, what's going to make them loud and proud for all of our games. It's exciting to see them there. We've got some construction projects wrapping up in the district. Work is all but finished around the plant services facility located on Douglas Road. That work has made quite a bit of difference in the appearance and the functionality of the location. Also, resurfacing has been completed on the drive and parking lot at Thomas J. Rusk Elementary, and I know our principal is excited about that, that's completed. And the project included a complete renovation of those surfaces, and all the rain earlier in the summer had thrown a little bit of a loop, but we got past that. But our crews made a great effort to wrap this up before the school year began, and for that we're extremely grateful. And I know that TJR staff, as well as our parents dropping off their students, appreciate the new drive that we have. The Itchy's Bookworm, boy, that's a little tongue twister. The Itchy's, I don't know why that got me the giggles with it. Itchy's Bookworm vending machine. I'm going to have to practice that tonight when I get home. Itchy's Bookworm, I can't say the word. Vending machine.
Inchy, like an inch.
Inchy Bookworm. I can't say the word, is ready to pay off at Regay Elementary School on Tuesday. Members of the Nacogdoches Independent School District's Education Foundation and Nacogdoches Rotary Club gathered in the hallway outside of Regay's cafeteria to mark this occasion. A $4,500 innovative grant from Nacogdoches ISD and the Education Foundation provided much of the funding for the book vending machine. Regay's teachers that we have listed that wrote the grant, we have Deidre Marcel. Are these folks here tonight with us? No? Deidre Marcel, we have Gracie Beatty, Vonda Hope, and Stacy Atkins wrote the grant and were awarded in April. Regay came up with the additional money needed to complete the project. Students at the campus will earn tokens to use in the machine for the academic achievement and good behavior. The goal is to get books in the hands of all of our students. I'm grateful for the foundation and its work and commitment to NISD, and for Nacogdoches Rotary Club's generosity and support of the literacy program. So we're really excited about that group that's there. So, Coach, that's all I have for the presentation. So,
Thank you, sir. Okay, now we're in a public comment, and we have not received any request to address the board. Am I correct? However, if you would like, or anyone would like to comment in the future meeting, the instruction of how to sign up are on the meeting notice. Next, we move to reports. Tonight, we have one report, and it's RBC Capital Market Report. Mr. Bill Eberlin, our Chief Financial Officer.
Thank you, Mr. President Neermond. Good evening, President Neermond, board members, and Superintendent Trujillo. We have a distinguished guest today, and his name is Mr. Bob Henderson from RBC Capital Markets. They have been advising with NAC ISD for quite some time on our tax rate management and some capacity analysis for the school district. And I'd like to ask him to come up at this time and present for you guys.
Thank you. It's, as you know, always a pleasure to come to Nacogdoches because it's 80% of the distance to my Caddo Lake house. So because I live in Bromford, so as soon as I leave here, on the Caddo Lake. My nephew was fishing this morning and says it's doing very well. This is a kind of a routine update, if the board will indulge us. As you know, we work with the district on the 2019 bond election, and what we have done periodically is update the board and, of course, the senior administration on debt capacity issues. One of the interesting things I've always found about Nacogdoches ISD is that you have unusual levels of fluctuation in your tax base. Sometimes it goes up tremendously in some years, and other years we even see a 1 or 2% decline. So for that reason, we try to pay particular attention to the moving needle that is debt capacity. One of the things that we want to talk about, really, and let me get a little clicker here. We'll start basically with your existing debt and talk about how, at least I define debt capacity. As you know, you've got 3 debt transactions outstanding. What's left of the 2015 and 2020 bonds. Of course, the 2020 bonds was just a refunding of some previously issued bonds. Initially, the district had voters supported $93 million worth of bonds in these past elections. About $82 million of that is still outstanding. And you can see the final maturity dates and the interest rates on those bonds. The lower charts describe the same thing graphically. In the first chart in terms of principal and interest, and the second chart broken out by series. When we talk about debt capacity, there's a couple different ways to measure it. One is against the maximum interest and sinking fund tax rate that is allowable under state law, which is 50 cents, which nobody wants to talk about, and I've always said all I'm going to say about that, because we're not talking about raising the INS tax rate or the maximum debt capacity. What I like to talk about is utilizing the growth in your taxable assessed valuation within the parameters of your existing INS tax rate to see how much debt we can issue without having to go up on that nominal tax rate. And we're going to discuss that in a slightly different way in just a second. But for right now, if you look at on the left-hand side of these charts, you see that your debt service, because of the 2015 transaction, is slightly elevated, drops off in 2 years, and then the 2020 transaction, which represents a previous issue, also drops off. So really what we're talking about in terms of debt capacity is without raising your tax rate, keeping the tax rate exactly as it is now to meet the debt service on your existing bonds, as your bonds pay down and as your taxable assessed valuation goes up, what can we issue within those parameters to meet the future capital improvement needs of the county, of the school district, without having to raise the taxes. So on the next page, you see some historical information about tax rate and the 2 scenarios that we're going to talk about. The fun thing for your taxpayers is, of course, that your tax rate has consistently fallen over the years. If you go back to 2016, you had a total tax rate of $1.35. We saw those tax rates come down, even though your INS tax rate did go up after the 2019 bond election. Because of compression on the maintenance and operations side of your tax rate, your total tax rate is illustrated in the far right-hand column of that upper left chart, has consistently come down. Now we're talking about using some of the capacity that the voters approved in the 2019 transaction, which was an INS tax rate of up to 38 cents. We are at that level now. And so we're talking about capacity as it relates to 38 cents on your INS tax rate. Now, and you can see that on the left side of the upper right-hand corner chart. There's a scenario 1 and then scenario 2. Scenario 1 is maintaining the existing tax rate of 38 cents. Scenario 2 is very close to the same thing, but it talks about maintaining your total tax rate. So in other words, aggregating your maintenance and operations taxes with your interest and sinking fund taxes. The difference is only the difference between 38 cents and 38.45 cents. So it's a nominal difference, but I want to show it both ways so that the district board can have an opportunity to look at that. Your 10-year TAV has continued to go up, and the tax rate collections have gone up, but of course, your tax rates have come down because of that growth. These are details, and I hate to put you to sleep by reading all of the details to you in person, but it outlines what the tax rate calculations and assessed valuation growths look like. And let's just focus, if we could, on maintaining the existing INS tax rate, because again, the difference between the two is extraordinarily minimal. So we've got a tax rate of 38 cents. We've got preliminary taxable assessed valuation of $2,877,000,000. We've got frozen values and transfers. In both scenarios, your after frozen tax value is about $2.7 billion, not quite that. We're assuming a collection ratio of 98%. This includes prior year's tax collections as well as what's collected off the current tax roll. And then revenues are the same in terms of what's being collected off of the prior year's frozen values. So again, the only difference is that very slight difference between 38 cents and 38.45 cents. The debt service numbers follow. So now, the next chart talks about the preliminary cash defeasance that's already been done, and I will tell you, and you've heard me mention this in the past, I love this strategy. I started doing this with the City of Victoria about 15 years ago, but my primary example of this is at Dallas ISD. I started working with Dallas ISD as their financial advisor exactly 10 years ago. I know that because our contract expired and I have to renew it next month. So exactly 10 years ago, I've been working with Dallas ISD. They had an interest in sinking fund tax rate at that time of 24.2 cents. And we developed a strategy and sold, I hate to use that word, but that's what we did. We sold it to the school board. They were having tremendous growth in their tax bases, certainly as you have recognized in the most recent years here at Nacogdoches ISD. We sold it on the idea of maintaining that same 24.2 cent INS tax rate. And as their tax base went up, and it went up sometimes as high as 16 and 17% per year, this past year it went up 9.93%, so it's still growing very quickly. We have cash to fees debt with excess revenues based on the 24.2 cent tax rate, and we have paid off $300 million worth of debt early, which saved them, including interest over the length of those bond issues, another $450-something million. What that has done, as we've paid off that debt, is it has augmented, as it has here at Nacogdoches ISD, future debt capacity within, again, that fixed INS tax rate, in your case, 38 cents. Since I have been with the district, we have voted $5.4 billion. We've had 3 separate elections that total $5.4 billion. We are calling another election for $5.5 billion. And we will issue all $11 billion with no increase in that tax rate. $11 billion within a 24.2 cent INS tax rate. And that strategy works really wonderfully in 2 scenarios. One where you've got growth in your taxable assessed valuation, which despite a couple of glitches, Nacogdoches is experiencing above average growth relative to other school districts in the state of Texas. But also where you've got existing debt that pays off relatively shortly. In this scenario, applying the same strategies to Nacogdoches ISD, what you see here are details of what we can do in terms of doing a cash defeasance to maintain that standard 38 cent tax rate. Again, scenario 2 is 38.45, same difference, in order to preserve future debt capacity. And it provides you with the information about the cash deposit slugs, cost of issuance, net present value savings. Let's just drop all the way down to that dark box on the far right-hand lower corner. What you see is, under even scenario 1, the smaller amount, your net present value savings is $4.7 million. That's future interest that the taxpayers of Nacogdoches do not have to pay because of this 1-year cash defeasance. You take that numbers and you follow it into the next page, and what you see is debt capacity. Under scenario 1, again, I know I'm being redundant, flat 38 cents. This provides you with the opportunity. Oh, I went too far. There we go. Sorry. A debt capacity of $93 million. Now, I'll be the first person to say, if you don't need $93 million, don't take $93 million, right? You know, that's not what we're here to discuss. We just want you to have an idea for future reference as you look at the potential capital improvement needs to the community, you know, what capacity you have within your existing tax rate framework to speak to your voters. In scenario 2, it jumps to $95 million. Slightly less than half a penny, you know, does translate into money over 30 years. And that is the short and the sweet of it. There's our standard disclaimer, the Securities Exchange Commission makes us put in these things. I'm happy, I know I talk fast with a funny Northeast Texas accent that y'all have never heard before, all right? But I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have. Just because I talk so fast?
President Fashid, for the sake of the community and looking at, can you go back to slide number 3?
Number 3, yes. Whoops, wrong way. Uh-oh, I messed it up. I'm famous at my farm for messing up using the simplest technology.
What's exciting here, if you look at it now, and I'm very pleased to have Ben with us as our new CFO, because this is an area that we look at, is when you look at the total tax rate on the far right corner, where you have the yellow arrow that's pointing. If you look at the tax rate that we had, and you look over to the left and you look at 2024, what was the total tax rate? It was 1.1397. Y'all see that? But you go over and you see, okay, in the proposal of 2024 that he's looking at, and we're with where we're at and what we've been doing, the tax rate still remains less than what it was in 2024. So total tax rate is what's exciting, and that's, to myself being a property owner, I want to know what my total tax rate is. Don't talk M&O and INS, and some people don't know that. What is my total tax rate that you're coming at me with? And that actually shows you a drop, and we're maintaining if we went with that. I can't really, my eyes are bad, or the slide is real small, but if you went over to scenario 2, I don't quite read that last number, 1 point something, 1.13?
It's 1.1397, that is the 2024 rate.
So it's,
Scenario
yeah.
1 is a slight drop from the 24 rate. Scenario 2 is exactly the 2024.
So both scenarios, as you're looking at it, to the taxpayer out there and looking at the numbers, we're being very responsible with the numbers. We're looking at it and watching our tax rate, total tax rate, so that they're looking at that. So just wanted to showcase that because it was a little hard to see as you see the numbers that are there. But Bob, thank you so much. Thank you, President Fashid. I just wanted to make sure
Yes,
folks saw that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Always a pleasure to be here. The catfish may not think so today. Good night, folks.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night, Bob.
Thank you, sir.
Safe travel, sir.
Now we move to consent agenda. Unless removed from consent agenda, all items will be acted on with one motion. If there is a board member who wishes to discuss an item and on the consent agenda separately, please indicate the agenda letter and it will be set aside for further discussion and a separate vote. Board, any comments, any questions?
I move that we approve the consent agenda.
I second.
Any more question, comment? All in favor, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Ms. Pat. Ms. Anderson, let's move forward. Now we have discussion items. On the discussion items, we have 2A. First, there is no action resulting from executive closed session. B, which is second one, consideration of and possible board action on purchase of radio from Motorola Solution. And Mr. Murray Tarvin, Assistant Superintendent.
Well, let's hold off, and you need to put that to the board. The
Yeah.
question goes to the board.
Coach, I move that we would postpone 8B to a future meeting.
And I second it.
All in favor, indicate by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. It's been postponed. Thank you. Now, we are moving to another executive closed session. The board will now conduct executive closed session to discuss items posted on our agenda pursuant to the following provision of Texas Open Meeting Act and allowed by Texas Government Code Section 551.0821, 551.129. No voting will take place in the closed meeting. Any action the board wishes to take as the result of Discussion in closed session will take place after the board reconvenes into open session. Time now is 6:26.
Those that are in attendance, you can remain in the room. We'll be in another room.
Board is now reconvening into open session, and time is 6:56. The board has concluded its hearing and deliberated, the deliberation. The board did not take any vote or other actions in the closed meeting. Now, A, consideration of the board action, if any, on a level 3 parents' grievances determination.
I move that the Nacogdoches ISD Board of Trustees uphold the Level 2 decision of the Assistant Superintendent and deny the appeal.
Okay.
I second.
All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Okay. Motion moves. Okay. Now, at this time, I seek a motion for adjourn.
I move that we adjourn.
I second.
Okay, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. We adjourn.
What time you meeting?
No, he didn't.
Well,